Became the country's top cop, General Nicolas Torre III has laid down several plans for a more responsive police force. We'll be asking him how he intends to make all that happen when we speak to the PNP Chief a little bit later on in the program. And amid criticism that the Marcos administration is missing the mark on communications, PCO Secretary Jay Ruiz says he is working on a new strategy to better convey the government's policies and plans to the public.
Choose a leader who will be able to steer the Senate during these turbulent, challenging times.
Mahirap walang malinaw na numero sa ngayon.
May nakisuyo lang sa akin kung baka ako na lang daw ang tatakbo.
The 20th Congress hasn't even been sworn in yet, but the battle for the Senate presidency is already heating up. The big question: will incumbent SP Chiz Escudero retain his post, or will he be challenged by the incoming lawmakers?
And now the idea of term sharing is actually being floated. There is talk it could be split between him and the other top contender, former Senate President Tito Soto. Mobile journalist Isa Abelio with tonight's big story.
Oo nga eh. Siguro para hindi ako mator, tatakbo na rin ako Senate President. Para hindi na ako mag-isip. Tatakbo rin ako para wala na akong papaligan.
Senator J.V. Ejercito said this in jest, amid the growing question of who should serve as Senate President in the 20th Congress, which is already shaping up to be a critical legislature. Should Francis Chiz Escudero stay? Or should Tito Soto, who has been Senate President for 2 Congresses, take the reins again? Ejercito, for one, admits he's torn, especially since both were his party mates at the Nationalist People Coalition.
Malaki pong utang na loob ko sa kay Senate President Soto also because it was during his Senate presidency that I was able to pass 2 landmark legislations. Yan po Universal Healthcare Law and the creation ng Department of Human Settlements. Siya po nag-push talaga sa akin nun. And I owe that much to him. Pinagkakatiwalaan din niya ako noon. Parang wala pang deputy majority, but I was also always more often presiding or helping in the deliberations on the floor. Kay Senator Zubiri naman, di ba? I became deputy majority leader, but now kay Senator Cheese, now a Senate President, he asked me to be deputy majority leader again. And I'm part of the leadership right now, no. And I would say that not to defend or to praise him, but I think the Senate was able to pass a lot of priority measures.
Now, what about the gentleman's agreement, where Escudero remains Senate President for as long as there's an impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte, and Soto gets position after? Recall that before Escudero was nominated for the upper house's leadership, there had also been rumors that then Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri was on a term-sharing deal for the post. A similar deal was actually struck in the lower chamber in 2019 when Alan Peter Cayetano and Lord Alan Velasco split terms for the House speakership.
Well, nasa sa kanila na po yun. No? Mas maganda, walang away. Mas maganda, magsama-sama kami.
In the end, Ejercito says his only criteria in choosing the next Senate President would be whoever could lead them through these chaotic times.
So I guess I will have to choose a leader who will be able to steer the Senate during these turbulent, challenging times.
In an interview on Storycon, incoming re-electionist Senator Ping Lacson admitted Soto was having a hard time securing the numbers because no one could commit at this point.
Mahirap walang malinaw na numero sa ngayon. Walang nagbibigay ng categorical na sagot. Alam ko may mga nakausap lang pero walang categorically sinabi na okay, we'll vote for you. Open-ended lahat. So naghihintay ng numero. Ako yung 12, ako yung 13.
Meanwhile, aside from Escudero and Soto, the rumored third contender for the post, Senator Amy Marcos, has outright said she's also up for leading the Senate.
May nakisuyo lang sa akin kung baka ako na lang daw ang tatakbo. Palagay ko, ang gusto lang nila makipag-umpugan ako kitambalos-los.
The only thing for sure at this point is whoever wants the post will need to garner 13 votes from their fellow senators. Mobile journalist Isa Abelio, we are One News.
Akbayan Party List Congressman-elect Chel Diokno insists that there is no reason the impeachment case against Vice President Sara Duterte cannot be carried over to the 20th Congress. Echoing other lawyers, Diokno pointed out that when the Senate deals with an impeachment, they are no longer lawmakers, but functioning as a court. In a statement, Diokno said, while it is true that when the 19th Congress ends, all pending legislative matters and investigations also end, this refers to the Senate's role as a lawmaking body. It does not refer to the Senate's role as an impeachment court, which is entirely separate, distinct, and special. Diokno also emphasized that all these issues would not have come up had the Senate followed their constitutional mandate to try the articles of impeachment forthwith or upon transmittal. And that's why, he said, from the very beginning, they already questioned why there was no immediate action taken. Senator-elect Ping Lacson, for one, has also admitted seeing a draft resolution petitioning the dismissal of the impeachment case. But he says the Senate cannot do that without convening first as an impeachment court. For him, the best way forward is to proceed with trial and let it carry over to the 20th Congress.
Hindi nga sila nag-aamta sa impeachment court. So wala silang personalidad, wala silang authority na mag-dismiss ng isang impeachment complaint. Kasi ang pwede lang umakto sa impeachment complaint na na-transmit, properly transmitted ng House sa Senate para mag-constitute sila into an impeachment court, yung court mismo. The best way forward is kaya mag-crossover sa 20th Congress kasi imposible nang matapos ng 19th Congress. Again, going further, the best way forward is to go into trial.
Himself being a former police chief, Lacson was also asked about the appointment of General Nicolas Torre III as PNP chief. The Duterte camp had criticized Torre for only being a 2-star general. But Lacson says he himself only had 2 stars when he became chief of police.
Ako, tumalon din ako doon 2-star ako doon
Okay.
So okay lang
Kasi
tumalon.
ang batas ganito, yung PNP law, pwede mag-appoint yung Pangulo.
Yeah.
Mag-bid selection hanggang full colonel. He deserves to be appointed. Hindi ko siya kilala. Narinig ko lang doon sa kanyang dating boss na talagang yung sabi niya, yung official na yan, very firm yan. Pag inutusan mo yan, talagang mission-oriented, i-accomplish na yung mission.
Speaking of the new PNP chief, well, he is our first guest tonight, so let's bring him in. Welcome to the big story, General Nicolas Torre III. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. Magandang gabi po sa inyo at sa inyong mga tagapakinig. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Narinig niyo po ba yung soundbite that we ran just before you of Senator Ping Lacson saying you are very firm daw and very mission-oriented? Did you want to react to that?
Yes, I thank General Lacson for the recognition, and he is one of the upperclassmen and PNP leaders that we all look up to. Thank you very much.
Sir, let's take a step back and talk about your appointment. When exactly did you get the call from President Marcos that you were being appointed the new PNP chief?
Well, I got it, I think it's, a few hours before. No, basically, when it was announced, it was almost simultaneous. When we were told, I was told that I was appointed, E.S. Bersamil is already about to start the press conference and announce my appointment also.
It was the same day. So same day that
Yeah.
it was the same day that it was announced to the media.
Yeah, when it was announced to the media, I was informed around 30 minutes earlier. Okay. Ganun.
Sir, hindi mo lang kayo binigyan ng chance to decide on it, to think about it, whether you want it. Did you want the job?
Obviously, wala namang pulis na it's everybody's dream, So many people are dreaming of it, and if you get it, and I'm very, very much thankful, humbled by the trust and confidence of the President.
So, General, hindi totoo yung mga ibang tao na sinasabi na alam mo na raw beforehand na ikaw yung magiging Chief PNP.
Ang nakakaalam nun yung ating mga supporters, yung mga nagmamanok sa atin, yung mga bata-bata natin nagsabi, ikaw na nga sir, alam na namin. Pero ang totoo niyan, wala naman talaga official announcement. So everybody's receiving information like that. All the contenders most probably are receiving information like that. Pero it's all about Russian roulette na kung sino tatamaan, di sa kanya mapunta.
Of course, you are still early in the job. You've just been in position 5 days now. But I'm wondering, how's it going for you? Are you facing any resistance? Kasi on the surface of it, parang you're a bit of an outsider, no, sir? Because for one thing, you didn't come from the PMA, the Philippine Military Academy, and also you're from Davao. So are you facing any resistance at this point in time?
As of the moment, fortunately, wala naman ako nararamdaman ganyan. Everybody's doing the line, everybody's delivering, at meron na tayong maipagmayabang na mga 3 instances na 3 minuto, nare-resolba ang mga kaso. And one of those things is already reported by the mainstream media, yung paghabol ng motor na kinarnap doon sa Caloocan.
Okay, pero at this point, since bring up nyo na rin yung pagkakarnap, no, tumataas kasi ngayon yung mga cases ng mga petty theft. Nabalitaan naman natin, General, na maraming ang nakikidnap, na hold up rather. Lalo na sa CBD, ng Makati, ng BGC. And supposedly, wala daw tumutulong na police. Can you shed some light kung anong ginagawa ng PNP para, maayos naman yung ating imahe? Because as it is, yung travel advisories ng mga South Korea at ng US, fina-flag na po ang Pilipinas bilang isang dangerous spot or for their citizens to be more aware.
As you said it a while ago, I'm 5 days on the job, pero may mga nakikita ng mga pagbabago. Nawawala na ang mga pulis, wala na ang mga pulis sa mga presinto at na yung mga areas na hindi sila nakikita. So they are already accessible, they're already on the streets doing the patrolling with the police visibility. So I do hope na mag-i-impact ito ng positively sa ating mga kababayan. At as of the moment, as we speak right now, mayroong isang kaibigan ako napunta sa Tambo Parañaque Police Station. Diyan sa Tambo Precinct at nagsasabi, sir, nung una kong punta ko rito, sabi, pupunta na ako ng barangay. So sabi ko, bumalik ka dyan, kausapin ko ang police. Kinausap ko ang police. So sa ngayon, ganyan, pag sabi ko, pag hindi nyo na-solve yan, papuntahin ko sa CIDG yan at pag na-solve yan, may problema kayong lahat dahil you're refusing to do your job. So sa ngayon, yan muna ang ating ginagawa before we impose sanctions at we hope na yung mga ganyang nakikita natin na nagsabing dumadami at tumataas ang kriminalidad like the petty theft. Kaya nga ang aking sinasabi sa ating mga pulis dyan na damihan yung huli kasi kung dumadami dapat ang huli rin natin para matigil ang mga yan. There's only one way to stop that wave. That is to take out the criminals from our community, and we take them out by arresting them.
Can you explain that? Kasi medyo naging controversial, General, yung that word, no, paramihan ng arrests. Sabi ng Commission on Human Rights, pagka naglagay po tayo ng quota, baka daw bumalik tayo dun sa dating siste, di ba, na nagkakaroon ng quota, paramihan, and it's not a good metric. Can you explain what you mean sa paramihan ng arrests?
Well, sinasabi niyo, dumadami ang krimen. So, ibig sabihin, dapat tumataas din ang aresto para ma-solve yan. Because how can we stop these crimes if we don't increase our arrest? At paramihan ng quota, hindi naman ibig sabihin na paramihan ng quota, you take out even the innocent persons from our community. Ang purpose natin is to keep our community safe, and the only way to do that is to remove the criminals. Ngayon, ito naman, may mga nagsasabi na sila ay may nangangamba, baka naman maging abusado ang pulis. Tandaan po natin, itong mga ang directive ko is aresto. Walang papatayin dyan, walang gagawa ng incriminatory machination. So, ang sinasabi natin, arestuhin pag may tamang basihan. Ngayon, pag sila ay gumawa, ang pulis halimbawa ay nagdala ng ebidensya, nagplanting ng ebidensya, ay hindi ho yan ang arestong hinahanap natin. Kasi ang ginagawa nila ay crime in itself, which is planting of evidence. And we have zero tolerance for it. We will never, ever tolerate that. So, rest assured, ang ating mga kababayan, pag ikaw ay naaresto at illegal ang pagka-aresto, andyan naman ang PAW. They can always get the services of a lawyer. Nandyan na si Attorney Persida Acosta na matutulong sa kanila. And they can bring the case to the NAPOLCOM. We have a very, very strict and very, very straightforward and no-nonsense Vice Chairman and Executive Officer in the person of Attorney Ralph Calinisan. So, that guy is very, very tough on wrongdoings within the police force. So they can rest assured na pag sila ay ginawan ng mali ng police, especially maling aresto, may pupuntahan sila na pwede sila magreklamo and can seek redress of these wrongdoings.
May napag-usapan ba kayo, sorry Reg, may napag-usapan ba kayo ni Attorney Calinisan ng NAPOLCOM kung paano nyo paiigtingin itong sistema to hold erring police officers accountable?
Yes, we have already talked. Dati naman kasi kasama ko yan sa Attorney Ralph Calinisan sa Pleb Quezon City, and no-nonsense yan na PNP Chairman. And now that he's promoted to a national body like the NAPOLCOM, ay dala-dala niya ang fervor na yon, ang talagang alab ng damdamin na para mapabuti ang ating kapulisan. So he will be very, very strict, and we expect him to do that because we will be very, very thankful sa kanyang tulong na maalis ang mga skalawag sa ating hanay. And we have talked, I think 2 days ago sa conferment ng PESE doon sa kanilang office, and just this afternoon I also talked to him again regarding some matters na mutual interest namin, which is to really make sure that policemen to the line, and at the same time, how to reward these policemen, especially those who are performing, yung mga nakaka-aresto talaga, talagang nakikita mong nahuhuli ng kriminal, pumupunta sa piskal, nagtataas ng kamay at nagbibigay ng ebidensya, at pumupunta sa judge, nagbibigay at nagtitestimonya ng ebidensya on how to reward such policemen. Kasi truth to tell, ang pinakamahirap talagang trabaho ng pulis ay humarap sa piskal at huwes, magtaas ng kamay at magbigay ng ebidensya, magtestimonya. Kasi ang totoo niyan, ang kalaban nila dyan ay isang abogado rin na magdidepensa doon sa ating akusado. Sapagkat isa ay basic na karapatan yan, the right to counsel. And mabuti kung ang abogado na yan, patulog-tulog. Kung mga magagaling na mga abogado, gaya ng mga abogado ng PAW, ng mga bata na talagang maalab din ang damdamin at depensahan din ang kanilang mga kliyente, talagang bakbakan sa korte yan. At ang ating mga pulis talagang masusubukan kung talagang magaling sila. At alam nyo, ang mga drug cases, ang mga witness natin dyan na pulis, pag na-dismiss ang kaso, 60 days ang suspension nila. Kaya hindi basta-basta yan na trabaho ang pagtitestimonya. Kaya talagang yan, i-reward din namin. Napag-usapan namin ni Attorney Calinisan kanina.
General, it's also not just about the numbers, no? Not just about the number of suspects that you're able to capture. Kasi, for instance, may mga high-profile kidnapping cases in recent months. Case in point, yung kidnap na estudyante from British School, Manila, and then also the kidnap and subsequent murder of Anson K., yung Filipino-Chinese businessman. Rightly or wrongly, nakakadagdag po siya sa general sentiment that crime is once again on the rise, and it is something that the administration's enemies, for instance, are using as a narrative against this administration. So I guess the question there is, ano po yung plano natin for especially for the high-profile crimes and in particular kidnapping?
We would like to, it's very unfortunate, and we condole with the victims of these two heinous crimes. We condole especially and offer our condolences to the family of Anson K. Pero we are proud to say na parehong solved ang case na yan at may mga nakafile na case na dyan. In the case of, especially of Anson K, we have 3 suspects there. One is a Chinese multimillionaire businessman ang nakakulong dyan. So, hindi natin, at nahuli na rin yung babaeng ransom negotiator, nahuli natin ang kanyang cellphone na may laman na $1.7 million. So, ganun ho kalaki ang mga involved na mga tao dyan at hindi natin sinasanto ang mga kriminal na yan.
Speaking of high-profile case, what about yung other big high-profile case involving former spokesman Harry Roque, sir? I don't know if nakita niyo na po yung memes online, the ones showing you capturing Apollo Kibuloy and then, you know, arresting former President Duterte, and then now meron naman meme of you arresting si former spokesman Harry Roque. How close are we? Na-file na po ba yung papers with Interpol?
Well, what we are doing right now is really concentrate on, we are looking for drug traffickers, we are looking for human traffickers, and these big criminal syndicates. Lahat sila, we are treating them equally. Nagkataon lang na si Harry Roque ay isa sa mga human traffickers in accordance to the warrant of arrest issued by the court here in the Philippines. Well, pare-pareho lang naman ang aming tingin sa mga yan. Pero in his case, the government had already requested for the cancellation of his passport so that he will not be able to travel from country to country. And it's just a matter of time before the Interpol issues a red notice for him to be captured like Arnie Tevez by other international police forces in the country where he is in through the international cooperation platform which is the Interpol. And it's just a matter of time before he's brought back here in the Philippines.
Na-file na ba yung papers, General? Do you know? Because 2 weeks ago, when we spoke to DOJ Undersecretary Nicholas T., hindi pa po na-file at that point in time. But do you know if you have made the formal request to Interpol?
Better siguro na surpresahin na lang namin siya pag lumabas na at kaharap niya na ang pulis na huhuli sa kanya.
So hindi niyo na muna sasabihin, sir, okay?
Secret. Okay, fair enough. Baling na lang muna tayo sa version ninyo ng drug war, no? Narinig na natin, no, from your predecessor, si General Marbil, na yun nga, medyo iba yung tono niya. Under you, General Torre, ano po yung may expect natin, no, sa pagsugpo ng droga, which mas mataas, no, yung nakulimbat ninyo in terms of value of drugs compared to the previous administration. Are you going to continue it? And in what form? How will it look like on the ground?
Well, pero hindi ko kuwan ako doon hindi ako mag-get over doon sa word na nakulimbat. Hindi naman kinulimbat ng pulis yun. Kinumpis ka ng pulis at inilagay sa evidence room natin. Hindi natin kinukulimbat yun. No? Una, ang direksyon ng ating drug war ngayon, ng ating drug operations ngayon, ay pagpapatuloy lamang sa sinimulan ni General Marbil. My predecessor, General Marbil, has been very, very efficient in running the anti-drug operations na talagang nagko-concentrate both sa top level at saka sa ground level din. At saka ngayon, itutuloy natin yon, especially so, may mga big confiscations na tayo lately. So itutuloy natin yon, and also of course intervene on the street level pushers, street level users, at saka yung mga street level, mga those people that are involved in street level operations in the distribution of drugs. So sa amin lang, we are making sure that everything is done within the ambit of the law. Pag nag-conduct tayo ng mga buy-bust natin, we are very, very strict in monitoring the pre-operational clearance. We're very, very strict in making sure that we are using body camera or alternative recording devices when we do especially when we do the inventory.
Will your focus be more on the street level or yung big time? Or pagsasabayin ninyo?
Sabay dapat yan. May mga nagtatrabaho ang ating DEG, yung Drug Enforcement Group natin, are focusing on the supply reduction. We are constricting the supply. We are interdicting the supply to make sure na ang mga droga na pumapasok sa bansa natin ay mapigilan or mabawasan or makumpiska ang mga nakapasok na. Pagkatapos yung mga na-distribute na sa street level, andyan naman ang ating mga frontline police stations, may mga SDO, Station Drug Enforcement Units, ang ating mga police stations, na nag-specialize sa pagtugis nito mga street level pushers and users.
From what you can see, General, why is it so hard to cut off the supply? Kasi matagal na pong problema yan. And alam naman natin from which countries galing yung supply ng droga. Bakit po hindi
it's big money. Ang drug problem is big money. Talagang ang kanilang mga systems ay nagiging sophisticated as time goes by. Kaya nga pati kahit nasa first world country naman di ba? Hindi naman nawawala talagang droga sapagkat may mga demand talaga yan dahil ang mga addict may mga demand. Kaya kung may bibili, may magbebenta. Pero sa atin dito, what we are trying to say is that hindi tayo tumitigil sa pagsa-stop nung supply at hindi rin tayo nag-i-stop sa pagpigil ng demand. We are trying to rehabilitate those drug users na sa tingin nila ay pwede pa silang ma-rehabilitate ang sarili nila. They voluntarily surrender themselves to rehabilitation centers. At sa side naman ng police, we help them avail of those services. Now, for the big-time dealers naman na talagang nakikinabang at ginawa ng hanap buhay ang pagbebenta ng droga, the police and other law enforcement agencies are also working hand-in-hand, including with the international community and other agencies, para masugpo sila at matigil ang production and trafficking, especially the transportation and distribution of these illegal drugs.
Can we also expect, General Torre, that you will continue the reorg that was started by General Marbil within the PNP? Ipagpapatuloy nyo ba yun or ipapag-igtingin nyo pa?
Oo, that's one of the last things we spoke to General Marbil about when he came to our set. Sabi niya, he's trying to do a restructuring and also trying to get rid of scalawags.
Scalawags.
Na-mention niya rin po yung scalawags din. Ano po yung plano for that?
Well, the bill was vetoed by the president, so we have not, it was returned to the Congress for further study. So we're going to take that opportunity to also infuse other changes as dictated by the operational environment. Nagbago na rin kasi ang mga pangailangan natin with the recent developments. So we deem it necessary. We found an opportunity to actually inject those reorganizational changes that we believe will be more responsive to our current needs. So ibabalik namin yun sa Presidente uli, ang aming comments ipapasok namin sa Kongreso, ibigay namin sa mga sponsoring congressmen at pagkatapos hopefully ma-integrate nila in accordance to our recommendations at ma-sign finally into a law.
Okay. And then last question, just very quickly, General. Si Senator Amy Marcos po, of course, she held a hearing on the arrest of former President Duterte. Afterwards, she said she saw cover-up of irregularities. There are a lot of glaring violations now. Those were her words. And she might look into filing cases. Does this worry you?
She did file a case in the ombudsman, ano? So, well, we are not worrying about it, no? We're not losing sleep about it because we do believe that everything that we did on that operation are all above board, legal, within the ambit of the law, moral, and most especially, we believe that we did it legally. We did it correctly. So, she may have other opinions, she may have a differing opinion, but she's welcome to. We welcome her move to file it in the ombudsman so that we'll have a chance to rebut it in writing, informally, and in a proper forum. So hindi gaanong problema yun. We really don't worry about it.
Given a chance to do it again, may babaguhin po kayo?
Maybe I should have smiled more for the camera.
That is a good point. Okay, on that note, we will end the interview there. Thank you so much for your time tonight and for joining us on The Big Story, PNP Chief General Nicolas Torre III. Salamat, sir.
Okay, let's hit pause on these political stories first because coming up, a conversation with the so-called serial entrepreneur Paco Magsaysay about his new ventures. When The Big Story returns, keep it here.
Oh, sorry. Welcome back. You're watching the big story here on One News. Time for some economic data, and the country's unemployment rate ticked up to 4.1% in April compared to 3.9% in March. That's based on data released this morning by the Philippine Statistics Authority from its labor force survey. That seems like a small difference, but in terms of the number of individuals who are unemployed, these figures translate to 2.06 million unemployed in April, up from 1.93 million last March. Underemployment also jumped to 14.6% for the month. That's the highest so far this year. Underemployed refers to those who already have jobs but are seeking more work or longer hours. Among the sectors with the highest job losses are manufacturing, service, entertainment and recreation, wholesale and retail trade, and vehicle repair. On the other hand, sectors including administrative and support services, public administration and defense, agriculture and forestry, construction and education saw continued growth. DepDev Undersecretary Rosemarie Edilion said the government is optimistic about improving job prospects with the rollout of the Trabajo para sa Bayan program and an influx in investments.
He is best known for founding Carmen's Best, a local premium ice cream brand that was so successful it was the first major acquisition for Metro Pacific Agro Ventures, the agriculture arm of Metro Pacific Investments. But now he has pivoted to something else entirely, something unrelated to food, in fact. Here tonight to talk to us about his new ventures as well as the story of how Carmen's Best came to life is Paco Magsaysay, the founder of Carmen's Best Ice Cream.
Thank you,
Welcome
Sean.
to the big story, Paco.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so do we start? Let's start with Carmen's Best because everyone equates Paco Magsaysay with Carmen's Best. So tell us how that story started and what gave you the idea of launching a premium ice cream brand.
Yeah, so we started in 2009 is when we incorporated a company with the SEC called Carmen's Best Dairy Products. So if you notice, the name ice cream was not even in the name of the company we incorporated. So in 2011 is when we started selling the ice cream. And our main goal was to not bump heads with the bigger players in the industry, like the Selectas and Magnolias. So we decided to cater to a smaller market, which is the A market. And it turned out to be a good thing because we didn't have any competition in that segment.
I remember this story. You started, it was, the product was ice cream because your dad had bought a farm. And
Yes.
you were looking for something to do with the milk byproduct.
With the fat.
Tama?
Yeah.
With the fat that comes off of the skim milk, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he started a farm with some of his friends to help stimulate the rural economy. And he worked with the Department of Agriculture. They had a program for livestock. And we started with 100 heads of dairy cattle from the NDA, the National Dairy Authority. And from there, we were able to grow the number of heads to about 350 after about 10 years. So we didn't import more cows because it was quite expensive. But with Metro Pacific now, they've imported 1,000 cows. So
They want to scale talaga.
they
eh?
really want to
Oh.
scale because their goal is to really
Food security.
food security and to cater to a bigger market. You know, not only Metro Manila but even Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So they also acquired a dairy farm in Mindanao, and they're really ramping up the dairy business. Yeah.
It used to be that we could only supply less than 1% of our daily needs. For full
Yes.
disclosure, I did interview Paco back when he was still the owner of Carmen's Best. And that's how I
is kind of. Majority stake lang naman yung
Majority stake.
NPAV.
Yeah. So are we more than 1% now supplying our daily needs here in the Philippines?
It's still at 1%. I mean, you'll need a lot more than 1,000 cows to get over the 1%. We have a population of 116 million. So 1,000 cows is nothing for the 116 million people. But then again, if you look at the market for fresh milk, it's just also a small percentage of the market. It's still going to be more UHT milk or powdered milk, especially for logistics. It's very hard to, bring the fresh milk all over the country.
Yeah.
And then in the midst of all of that, you decided, oh, I'm going to use the milk fat that was just being skimmed off to low-fat milk,
Yeah.
and you're going to turn it into ice cream.
Yes.
Did you have much experience in ice cream before launching Carmen's Best?
Just
O
eating it.
mahilig lang siya
Just
sa ice
eat.
cream.
Yeah, so we looked at the chart as to what you can make using fresh milk, and so yogurt, cheese, and when ice cream came up, it was something that I wanted to test, because it was different from what was available outside, and it turned out to be a good thing, and I didn't realize it was going to grow to what it did. We had no 5-year, 10-year plan written up. We just sort of went where the river took us. We couldn't follow any other company because we were the first Philippine company that targeted the A market. So it was exciting, and it was very fun doing it. Yeah.
But that's exactly the key, right? How do you go from a backyard project to a national brand
Yeah.
that's known for good quality ice cream, right? What do you think you did right?
I think I was true to our mantra of keeping it, the best ice cream we could make it. So we never lowered the quality. That was our number one differentiator for what made us different from the other products, ice cream. So we felt that our quality helped sell our product.
And people, the consumers could tell the difference in quality because I guess to the average consumer, ice cream is ice cream, right?
Yes, yeah.
It's sweet, it's cold,
Yeah.
pero your consumers could tell the difference.
Yes, so I remember the latter part of running the business. I was doing a lot of talks, and I thought it would help increase sales, but it didn't, because people still need to try it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can explain it all you want, but until they try it, then it's a different story. So we would do a lot of free tasting, and the Saturday markets and the shops that we opened in Rockwell and Alabang Town Center. And I think when people try it, and it's just very different from what you can get locally, that's when they start, patronizing our product.
I thought it was when they started serving it on Philippine Airlines flights.
Yes.
I was so shocked also because, some
That's
people
when you know
might-
you've arrived.
Yeah.
Pag nasa flag carrier ka
Parang,
na.
"Uy, Carmen's Best yung ice cream, social. Parang it's
It
like
was
that.
blessed by the Pope. When the Pope came,
And he had a taste
yeah,
of
he
the
had a
ice
taste
cream.
of the ice
What
cream.
flavor did he have?
He had two, actually. He had the malted milk and the brown butter almond brittle.
Oh, wow, you remember.
Malted
course,
milk is
yeah.
my fave personally, and the strawberry. Though. What would you say was the hardest thing? I know you had a lot of fun. Sometimes I would cross the Rockwell store. It was so busy. I would see you there being hands-on. But were there any hardships?
Well, the start was very difficult because nobody knew what Carmen's Best was when we were starting, and people didn't know me as being in the food business or food manufacturing. So it was really an uphill climb, for every 10 places I'd visit, get rejected majority of the 10, maybe only 1 or 2 will agree to carrying our product.
Wow.
So it was really, you had to really keep on getting up when you get knocked out, knocked down, get up again, knocked down, get up again. So I found it fun because every time you get knocked down, you got to learn and adjust and find out how you can change your approach.
And now you don't have to knock on doors because it's such a recognizable brand.
They know us already.
And now also you're pivoting to other businesses.
Yes, yes.
Right? Tell us about the two other two other ventures you've started recently.
Yes, so I'm back to running our broadband internet and cable TV business, which I was doing prior to the ice cream. And it's so much easier closing accounts now because people know me. So it's, oh, you're the ice cream guy, So yeah, so it's much
The trust
easier
is
now.
there.
The trust is there.
But they're
and
not questioning why is he
why
going
is
from dairy
What's
to
he doing
to
here?
broadcast?
What are you doing? But I think in business, if you follow the basic principles of, the trust, the integrity part of it, then you'll be fine. The other business we started is a company called Skin Adept. It's a center in Capital Commons. And for us, the main differentiator is the doctors that we have.
Is this a skin clinic? Hold on.
Yes,
What's skin
yeah,
Adept?
skin.
Like
skin,
an aesthetic?
Yes, aesthetic clinic. Yeah.
Okay, tawagan ka namin ni Regina.
Yeah. Anytime, let me know. Yeah.
Just kidding.
I'm not a
But
client,
it's
so I'm not.
is it not a fairly saturated market, the skin care and aesthetic
Yes,
field?
it is. It
is.
really is. But the key component to us starting that business is the person who's running the business. He was running. He was in Dubai for I think 13 years, and he decided to, after the pandemic, come back to the Philippines, slow down, and wanted to put up a clinic. So we helped support him. We are not majority owners, but we're part of a group of owners that have investment in this company. And slowly but surely, it's gaining traction. So, hopefully we get more people coming to the clinic.
What business lessons are crossing over from your time at Carmen's Best?
I think it's, as I mentioned earlier, it's the trust that people have with you, and that you're not just running after a sale. It's the competence of the people that we have, and they don't have any, as you say, quotas that they need to hit. So they'll only ask you or offer services that you need, not try to push other services that you might not need.
And just like Carmen's Best, when you were super fixed on, I'm just gonna target this market, this niche
Yeah.
market. Are you doing the same with Skin Adapt,
Yes.
as well as perhaps the cable and broadband business?
Yes. Well, same thing. It's more about running a business based on niching the market, because we don't have a lot of capital, unlike a lot bigger companies out there, whether it's like a Bello or an IV clinic, which is very much have been in the industry for quite some time, or in the broadband internet business like a PLDT or a Converge or Globe, much bigger company. So same thing with the ice cream, we're niching the market, and hopefully we survive for the next several years.
But that's
Yeah.
a lot easier said than done, niching a market. I mean, it's easy to say,
Yeah.
but it's hard to actually do. And
Yeah.
it's even harder as you get paranoid, like maybe things aren't going your way,
Yeah.
to stand your ground. So what's
Yeah.
the secret there?
I think you have to be firm and not get too rattled when things don't go your way. And I think if you're true to your clients and you give good service and good customer service, you'll have people patronizing you.
But also with your name, I'm sure you can walk into any bank and ask for a loan, right?
Yes.
And scale up pretty quickly if you
Yes.
wanted to. What's the benefit of taking it slow? A lot of entrepreneurs these days are all about, moving fast and
Yeah.
breaking things along the way. But what's the benefit of
Yeah.
keeping focus on the niche market and growing slow?
Well, for us, it's more about being not too aggressive. I think when you become too aggressive and you take out big loans and all that, and you don't have a lot of capital, it's a little bit risky, because the more loans you take out, and if you're not able to deliver, then you could lose the whole thing. So I think even when we did the ice cream business, we didn't get big equipment. We really scaled up as the volume went up. So we got bigger equipment as the sales volume went up. We were not buying overcapacity machines to, as a like looking in the future,
Right.
that thinking that it was gonna
Right.
hit that number. It was hard to see what the market would be 3 or 5 years, because it's never been done before. There was no company at that time doing locally a premium ice cream in the Philippines. So we had no company to follow, no footsteps that we could look at. So it was really us doing the start of targeting the A market.
What's the dream for Skin Adapt and your broadband business, which is called, what's the broadband
Asian
business?
Vision.
Asian Vision. Asian Vision and Skin Adapt. Two entirely different
Yes,
businesses.
yeah.
Two different business models, I assume as
Yes.
well. What's the target for each?
Well, for Skin Adapt, we're looking to hopefully open a second or hopefully a third branch in about 3 to 5 years. For the broadband internet business, it's just to scale up wherever our fiber optics cables are laid, because we're not wireless. Wireless is a different play compared to a wired service.
Where does your broadband company operate? Which area? Not
Yeah.
in Metro Manila, I assume.
We're not in Metro Manila. So we started in Zambales. because our family is from Zambales province. And then we started in Lucena City in 1976. You weren't
Okay,
born yet.
north to south.
Yeah, and then Batangas was, I think, 1987. So
Okay, so 3 provinces.
yes, 3 provinces. So we've been in that business for over 50 years. And it's been good to our family. It's what paid for our education and our homes.
So that's the bread
yeah,
and butter of
it's the
your
bread
family.
and butter, yeah. Not the ice cream. But people know me for the ice cream.
Oh, because
Yeah.
you made the brand so successful.
Yes, yes,
you're you know.
They connect me to that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They can't separate you from the brand
Yeah.
anymore. And then lastly, any advice to, I was going to say aspiring, but there's a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, but struggling entrepreneurs at the moment. We hear a lot of anecdotes as well about how difficult it is to do
Yeah.
business these days. Maraming bureaucracy, maraming competition, et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera. You've been there and done that. What's your best advice to these guys?
Well, I think when you start a business, you also have to be realistic with your goals, and start small and don't risk too much, upfront. Whether you're buying equipment or your targets, not make it too high, because I think when you start acquiring equipment or hiring people, then it tends to get out of hand, no. So just be realistic and grow it slowly, because if things go bad, at least you're not going to get too burned, and you can start on another project.
Last question from me. It can be quite emotional if you're one guy running the show. Where do you put your emotions in all of this? Do you embrace it, or do you kind of like put it in a box and put it aside?
Yeah, well, I think the more you have yourself in your product or service, the more it has your DNA, and that's how you differentiate your product or service from others. And it gets tiring, because you're working 6-7 days a week, and you just have to detach, because there are days that you're gonna have bad days, but there's also gonna be good days. So you can't let it bring you down, because I think entrepreneurs in general are optimistic people. So just follow that path.
Great advice.
Yes, on Friday night, nonetheless. Well, thank you so much for your time and for visiting
your
us
insights.
here. For your
Thank you.
insights, all the advice, the tips. Paco Magsaysay, thank you so much, serial entrepreneur, for
And
coming
founder of Carmen's Best.
and Skinada.
Oh, nga, no, there's 2
And-
other businesses,
and-
maraming businesses.
Maraming
But
businesses.
okay, moving on to other news, the Navy's BRP Andres Bonifacio has had another encounter out at sea today. It said it was tailed by at least 3 Chinese warships in the vicinity of the Kalayaan Island group. The Andres Bonifacio first spotted a Chinese Navy frigate near Panata Island, where it issued radio challenges to the Chinese warship. After several minutes of silence, the Chinese vessel sent out a reply claiming they were sailing in Chinese waters. But after a brief exchange with our Navy, eventually the Chinese warship changed course.
They are also giving their stance that they own the West Philippine Sea, but as our Philippine Navy, we counter challenge that Panata Island and KIG is part of the Philippines. Once we issued our radio challenge, they immediately changed their course going to Subi Reef.
We're pausing for another quick breather, but right after that, the Presidential Communications Office is having a revamp of its own amid the challenge of better messaging for the Marcos administration. That and more when we return. Keep it here on The Big Story.
Big story. Amid what the government says is still an unfinished cabinet revamp, the Marcos administration is also doubling down on its campaign to combat fake news. According to Presidential Communications Office Secretary Jay Ruiz, whose resignation was denied but who is yet to be confirmed by the Commission on Appointments, social media content must be regulated one way or another. Our sister program Storycon spoke to Ruiz, and here's what he had to say.
What we have in mind really is regulate or content moderation and have some standards when it comes to taking down fake news. And we are putting that responsibility on the platforms, social media platforms. Pero pinagkakakitaan nila ang mga Pilipino. So even if we ask them to take a fake news down, ayaw nilang gawin. So yun ang problema. They have their own set of standards, habang tayo wala. Samantalang, if you look at it, itong mga to, hindi naman pwede yun. In Singapore, since 2019, meron na silang regulations dahil sa mga social media platforms. And even in the European Union, there has to be a law regulating social media. That's the fact. And even, again, the social media platforms want it. We craft a law to prevent fake news.
Ruiz also said that the administration is resetting its communication strategy coming off the back of the Alianza's stinging loss in the midterm elections.
May bagong strategy kung paano po maipaalam sa tao yung mga ginagawa ng gobyerno na para sa tao. Kasi ang dapat po kasi namin gawin talaga is refocus, reset, at ituloy yung mensahe namin na palakasin ng government communication, na malaman ng bawat Pilipino ano ang ginagawa ng gobyerno para sa kanila. Batay doon sa resulta ng eleksyon. Yung mga tao po sawa na sa pamumulitika at gusto nilang makita na ang gobyerno is working for them, na dapat tugunan po ng pamahalaan.
And amid the broader cabinet revamp, Ruiz says he's also reorganizing the Presidential Communications Office so everyone is better aligned. Ruiz is the 4th Communications Secretary under Marcos.
When I first came in, I made sure na kailangan we work, may alignment, may coordination, may integration, and may unity in messaging. If you just get a conductor, a good conductor na maikukumpas mo yung message ng gobyerno, maayos mo yan. Ito yung ginagawa ko ngayon. Making sure na naka-align kaming lahat. Making sure na yung mga departments, we know what they're doing.
Are you looking to reorganize the whole agency, the communications agency?
That's what we're doing now, ma'am. It's ongoing right now.
Okay, magre-reorganize po kayo.
Opo. We did a courtesy resignation sa mga ibang mga agencies. Tapos yun nga, ina-align po namin. And at the same time, we have a unified communications group na doon lahat sa grupo na yun, inaalam namin yung bawat proyekto, programa ng ating mga iba't ibang departamento po.
Speaking of Singapore, Prime Minister Lawrence Wong has concluded his 2-day state visit here, his first visit to the Philippines as Prime Minister. He was received by President Bongbong Marcos at Malacanang and also dropped by Rizal Monument for a brief playing ceremony. Marcos said the two sides talked about how to make ASEAN stronger and more resilient, given that both countries are founding members. The two also vowed to deepen bilateral ties in trade and investments, renewable energy, climate change, humanitarian assistance, and digital leadership. Singapore is now one of the country's biggest foreign investors, and Wong said relations between the Philippines and Singapore are quote-unquote had never been better.
On to the weather now, where the rainy season is really here, and it made quite the entrance in Metro Manila this afternoon. The heavy downpour affected parts of Manila, causing immediate traffic buildup along the Quiapo Church, while other areas experienced flooding as well. According to Pagasa, the southwest monsoon or habagat will bring cloudy skies and scattered rains affecting Luzon and western parts of Visayas and Mindanao. They are currently keeping a close eye on a low-pressure area some 480 kilometers east of eastern Visayas. As of 8 a.m. today, Pagasa says it has a medium chance of developing into a tropical depression within 24 hours. If it does, it will be locally named Auring, the first storm to enter the country this year. But no amount of rain could dampen today's festivities for Adul Adha. And that is our big picture tonight. From up north in the country's summer capital of Baguio City to down south in the Bangsamoro region, thousands of our Muslim brothers and sisters gathered in prayer across the country. President Bongbong Marcos expressed solidarity with the Muslim community, saying that giving up certainty and letting go of pride is what brings everyone closer to God. In her message, Vice President Sara Duterte highlighted sacrifice, faith, and kindness. Adul Adha, or the Feast of Sacrifice, commemorates the Prophet Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice his son to God. Sharing and sacrifice. I hope it's not too late to greet all our Muslim brothers and sisters on Eid Mubarak. Did I say that correct?
Yes, that's true. Eid Mubarak today. It's a holiday, of course, for everyone else except for us. But it's nice to be here in your new set.
It's nice, right?
It's be filling in for Cessa and Pauline. You've got a nice set now. Look at your brand
Do
new
you like
couch.
your couch?
Oh,
It's
I
from,
like your couch.
local.
Parang
Carmens
lahat
common
ng tao
po eh.
nagre-revamp pa.
Oo.
Not just the administration.
Kayo na lang. I like your flowers though. You brought them today.
I had to wear something bright and cheery because it's such a gloomy day outside.
Where's the bright and cheery?
Well, I know it's black, but at least my flower.
Okay, fine.
Right, which I never do.
On that floral note, that's it for the big story tonight. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for watching. Have a good night and a great weekend.
Coming up next though, play-by-play tonight with Andre Felix and Denise Tan. What do you guys have for us tonight?
Dami.
Black
We
and
have a
green
lot.
din sila.
Game 1 of the NBA Finals today. And my boy Tyrese Halliburton. We'll talk more about it, but what a game earlier, Pacers and Thunder. Kamusta kayo dyan? Kamusta naman?
It's
Game
such
one.
such a gray day, ah.
It's so, yeah, I know.
Look at our colors. Such a gray and black day.
Yeah.
But
kasi
yes.
it's,
Because
Wala
you
na akong
missed
masabi,
Andre's
Denise,
outfit yesterday.
patulong Friday na. Itong katabi ko, excited na nga sa weekend eh.
Kanina pa siya nandyan. Okay, go.
Okay.
Game 1 of finals.
Oh,
What's
it's so
happening?
exciting. What do you have?
Yes, as we said, game 1. Thank you once again. And it's nice to see you together again. I know you guys are besties and carpool mates. Enjoy the weekend, Sean and Regina. Big story. And on the show tonight, though, Denise and I, we've got the Indiana Pacers, as I said, stealing one on the road to draw first blood in the NBA Finals. Plus, we also check in on the PBA, Denise, as teams fight for seeding in the Philippine Cup quarterfinals.
And of course, we catch up with members of the Philippine men's national football team ahead of their match against Tajikistan in the AFC Asian Cup qualifiers.
Back show on a Friday. I'm Andre Felix.